All right. So what is today's lesson? Unity and wholeness. And actually I titled it, and I realized that for those of you who are new, SOM doesn't necessarily mean anything to you. We always say SOM, which stands for the science of mind, and this is my battered textbook for over the years. Science of mind. And how many people have actually taken science of mind classes here? Wow, love it, love it. Now, if you haven't had an opportunity to take science of mind classes, we are preparing our fall schedule with classes, with community circles, and with some events. And so we're working on that, and you can hear more about that at the board meeting tomorrow, or as we continue to share via our e-blast. Science of Mind principles for unity and wholeness. Think for a moment for yourself, what are principles? What are principles? The definition, according to Webster, a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior, I would say belief and behavior, or a fundamental truth or proposition for a chain of reasoning. Another definition is a fundamental source or basis of something. So, for science of mind, what are our principles regarding unity and wholeness? Let's begin with an affirmation. Please say with me or after me, I am whole, perfect, and complete.
I am whole, perfect, and complete.
Now you will hear in Science of Mind that we'll say, like for instance when we talked about farmers market, positive thinking. But, you know, if I say for a moment I'm a millionaire, does that instantly happen? So I thought it, why not? That's right. Belief. Meaning, I want to know what love is. I want to feel what love is. The first place of unity is in mind and heart together. Because, yes, the positive thinking is needed, but if you can't embrace that thought and get your vibration or your feeling behind that, then you have separation. And that's really the work that we do here at this Center for Spiritual Living, is working to, yes, understand, and yes, have an opportunity to practice and get into alignment with our heart on our beliefs about unity and wholeness. So now I'd like you to close your eyes, and this is you talking to yourself, and maybe you might consider in your imagination putting your heart, your mind in your heart to have the two together. And now say to yourself, I am whole, perfect, and complete. Verbally, I am whole, perfect, and complete. One more time. I am whole, perfect, and complete. All right, if you'll bring yourself back into the room. I'm sort of curious, have any of you noticed that maybe there was a part of you that wanted to argue that? I mean, I'm serious. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say to you that when I first came to this center, I am whole, perfect, and complete. Of course, I had to pick on something, and I said, complete? I'm not finished. But that's not what complete means, I am whole, perfect, and complete. The word complete means that you have all that you need within you. You are not incomplete searching for other things outside of you. You can find the answers deeply within. This is where you are whole, perfect, and complete. And it's really important to understand that nothing Nothing can touch the perfection at the core of your being. Nothing, no thing, no matter how much trauma you may have experienced in your life. I'm not talking about character defects and mental, emotional, physical injuries. I'm talking about the core of your being whole and perfect and complete, and that's where you draw from. The quest is within, and it's not mission impossible. What do you see here? An onion. Tell me what you know about this onion that might be similar to life. There are layers to life. And I'm going to add to that, and the outside can sometimes get crusty. But it protects it. Say that again. And you know what? When you peel back the layers, you may cry. And I want to say that because sometimes in our society, it's about stuffing what we're feeling. And there can be a lot of healing in crying through some of the pain. So what do you know about the core of this onion? Do you know it exists? Are you sure? How do you know? By experience. So what we're getting to is you being able to experience at your core that wholeness, that perfection, that unity, that completeness. So the core of your being may not be visible, just like the core of the onion is not visible, but you just know that the core of the onion is there. So in the Science of Mind textbook on page 102 and 302, there is a subtitle, Unity and Multiplicity. Does that sound a little contradictory? Yeah, well, maybe, maybe not. Our human bodies are made out of the same etheric substance from which all things are made. Do we know that today based on science, right? The substance of us, whether it's from the molecules, the atomic, subatomic, and that visibly we may think that we're separated, but regarding the exchange in this room, regarding atoms and the subatomic, are we all one? So is there both unity and multiplicity? I'm going to ask David to bring up my PowerPoint. So the Pink Floyd picture. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's just an excellent metaphor. And some of you who haven't been here, what are you talking about, Pink Floyd picture? White light is the unity of all colors mixed together, right? And the white light then can be the symbol of God, your higher power, spirit, universal source, whatever your word is for that. And we understand, next slide please, that we are all one with that white light, and that when we come into the form of a body, or when that white light goes through the prism, we then become the rainbow, just as we are the rainbow in this room. In a previous lesson, we discussed how boring it would be if we all chose the color blue. Okay, next slide. When I like to talk about unity, I think to myself, you know, we usually come from thinking, okay, we're all the colors at the bottom, and we need to get unified, right? Next slide. But really, we are already one at our core. And I know the Science of Mind textbook is meaty. That's part of the reason why we have classes. But the Science of Mind textbook talks about the fact that the unity of that which we already are moves through what's called the soil, or in this case, the medium of the body, and we all become different colors of the light. Not that we are separate from each other, but that by our own unique expression, we become unique in our sole purpose. We become unique in how we express all attributes of God that are, again, at the core of your being. So you are not all of God, but you contain within yourself God at your core of your very being, or you wouldn't be here. You are already an expression of unity and wholeness. Now, for practitioners who study the science of mind for at least 2 years first, and then into practicing, which is another 2 years, we study at the back of the Science of Mind textbook some of the circles that are metaphysical charts. And one of the charts says, the triune unity, the indivisible whole within that which is all of its parts, the absolute within that which is relative, the uncreated within that which is created. I like to think about that one being the seeds inside a melon. The melon has already come from a seed, but there's still seeds within the melon that are uncreated, or, have not expressed as a melon yet. The changeless within that which is all change. The formless within that which is all form. The limitless within that which is all space. The timeless within that which is all time. And to get back to what I was saying before, the universal within that which is individualized. The one person within whom are all people. God, the Father of all. Son, that is the personality and the individuality of man in God. So you're each this individual expression of the unity that we already are. And the fact that you may be a unique expression, whenever anything is relative in form, it doesn't limit it. Relative is just one expression or one form of the absolute. In other words, you are unlimited potential. The Buddhists like to say, full potential in the no thing or nothing. And this one, for those challenges that are in our life, all conditions, mental, emotional, physical, obtain within them that which is limitless. Unlimited potential in the conditions that you already have in your life. In the Science of Mind textbook 128, if we think of ourselves as being separated from the universe, we shall be limited by this thought, for it is a belief in separation away from God, and that that belief itself binds and limits us. We are bound by nothing except belief, which I will say is the unification of mind and heart. So now the question is, so how do we embody all of this, right? I know it, but can I feel it? I like to think about it, I'm sure you've heard this before, if you can think it, you can be it or do it, yeah? I used to challenge myself with that. Really? Just because I think it? Even if it's beyond what is known today? You can't think outside of God. So what you do think is possible. Has anyone seen the movie, the Disney movie, animated, Zootopia? Hands up? Oh, not enough of you. You know, I don't put my money in movies that are about violence, because while the newspaper loves to talk about we have too many guns, I'm also thinking, what about all those movies that we create? Are we subconsciously putting seeds in people's mind that if I disagree with you, then I'm just going to end your life? Zootopia is not like that. I did say it was a Disney movie, right? And, you know, I honor Disney for that. I keep thinking I need to invest in them stock-wise, because when I watch Zootopia, and I'm not going to give you the whole story, but it's a wonderful metaphysical movie about all the animals getting along in society till somebody becomes a racist. Yeah. It's this little female bunny decides she wants to be a cop. Do you know who the head chief of police is? A big ram. So when the bunny finally makes it through police school, the academy, of course nobody's really believing this bunny can be a cop, because they're thinking force, not force. And I don't mean force, I mean power. Have I intrigued you for this movie yet? When are we showing it? Hey, you're right. It's in the movies now, so I don't think we can get the license yet, but thank you, Spring. We'll work at that one. I'm going to put that one in the future. So, you know, definitely, you have to see this movie as the poor bunny gets disappointed that she becomes the parking meter maid. But what I identify with is she's woman and she's an Energizer bunny. I hope you'll go see it. She makes things happen, that's right. Next slide. So, for those of you that don't know, I was the practitioners. We have a practitioners meeting today. We'll talk a little bit about SQ21, the 21 skills of spiritual intelligence. Next slide. And in that, the woman Cindy Wigglesworth talks about 4 different quadrants. So if we have an understanding about principles of unity and wholeness, what about how do these apply to spiritual intelligence? So there are 2 quadrants that I want to look at. The first quadrant up there says self and self-awareness. Notice capital S, little s. And number 5 there, if you'll just focus in on number 5, awareness of ego self and higher self. If you don't understand the difference between those two, there's a couple different things that will happen. One is that do you understand the unity of the higher self? And we all need ego in order to survive. So some people think, oh, the ego, and immediately, you know, how do we dissolve that? No, that's not what it's about. It's understanding the higher self-awareness and then the lower S self-awareness as one. And then when we look at quadrant 2, universal awareness, do you think unity has anything to do with awareness of interconnectedness? A lot to do with that. And other worlds views, and the last, see number 11, experience of transcendent oneness. Now I'm going to say to you, most of these things aren't visible like an onion. And we tend to spend most of our mental energy on what we see. And our spiritual practice is to spend more time on what we see. Unity, wholeness, oneness with each other, here, family, Chico, California, United States, and the world. I was fortunate enough to, well, I'm skipping ahead for a second. Let me just say that for SQ21, spiritual intelligence is about who are you when things get tough. What do you say to yourself and what do you say to others when life gets tough? What's your behavior like? So then what are your deep beliefs about you and others? I was at the Parliament of World Religions last October in Salt Lake City. Really enjoyed that, to see so many expressions, of course, of spirituality. And one day in particular was dedicated to calling forth all spiritual leaders to recognize the unity and oneness, in that if we didn't all come together as humanity, we will basically cause ourselves to go into extinction on Mother Earth. And I thought how wonderful that we are pulling together, first of all, as humanity, because the creed and the dogma can sometimes get in the way. Because we're labeling, you know, this belief, that belief, this belief. But if we believe literally in unity as one humanity and care for our Mother Earth, that is a goal that we can all come together on, again, regardless of creed or dogma. So, how do we express in this community wholeness and oneness? I'm going to jump ahead just based on time. I want to do a little bit of exercise here. So, can I ask Reverend Lisa and Reverend Michael to come up with their, I gave them their props, and I'm thinking you guys probably have to stand on the sides of the stage. I'm sure it doesn't say kick me. Can you tell Lisa's a teacher? Does anybody remember these? Hold them up. Common belief, goal, like-minded, joy, like-hearted, commitment, belonging, love and support, trusted leadership, sense of humor, synergy, intellectual stimulation, valued and seen, connection with resonance, unity, shared goals, relationship, compassion, all one, all love, love, purpose, respect, teamwork, like-minded, values, shared vision, and connection. Do you remember where those came from? Yes. All of you. When Reverend Michael and I were candidating, we went to the Chico New Thought Center and brainstormed what is community. And we went to the greater Chico and brainstormed what is community. Do you see any unity in any of that? Just all over it. Okay, thank you. So, let me open it up for just a few seconds saying, how can we, when you walk in this room, how will your mind and how will your heart know that there is unity and wholeness? Let's start with the mind. How will your mind know that?
Previous experience.
Previous experience, and then we get to begin creating that experience each time we walk in, right, Ernest? Okay? Awareness, familiar faces.
Comfortable surroundings.
Comfortable surroundings.
Intention.
Intention. Name badges. That's good. You know, I hadn't really thought about name badges creating unity, but there is a sense about that, right? That I know you. Thank you, Emmett.
Having something natural in the room, like those flowers.
Okay, having something natural in the room. And thanks to the sun tunnels, a little natural light also. Music. Okay, I'm going to jump to the other side, which is really the heart. How will your heart know that there's unity and wholeness? And music definitely fits that one. How else will you know?
Bubbly conversation.
Bubbly conversation. That feels whole and healthy and connected. You'll feel it. A good hug, smiles. All right. And of course, not every day is a smile day, but we hope for you, if it's not a smile day, you can come get hugs and smiles.
Comfort and natural authenticity.
Okay, transparency, authenticity, comfortable.
Great.
So I put all that out there as something that we get to demonstrate with each other now as we continue to create together, and when we tend to disagree, right? Which, again, unity, you want the rainbow because we don't all see all of those colors all of the time, do we? Okay, now I'm going to ask you to go to the next slide. We are going to be doing community circles. I'm just reminding folks that these won't be classes per se, because I know a lot of people have taken classes and people may not be interested in the Science of Mind textbook, but want to practice principles. Can you practice principles in educating yourself? And it doesn't have to be about the brain. We're just asking Johnny to do that because it's fun and exciting, and neuroscience is lining up a lot with our philosophy. Can you be leveraging the principles of unity and wholeness in your body? Yes. Can you be practicing those principles in spiritual contemplation, practicing, spending time in the truth that's in your mind, not necessarily spending as much time or, balancing the time that you spend just looking at things and going, that's not looking right. Right? Time management, technology, relationships, money, creativity, these are not all going to happen at once, but what I'm doing is inviting all of you to come to these community circles, which are an opportunity to connect with each other in community as we grow together, love together, and learn together. All right. And the next question is, want to know what my answer is for some demonstration of unity and wholeness? Next slide. Next slide. Okay, we had this. Next. May not be visible to some. What's the difference there? What do you think?
It encompasses all of Chico.
Yes. And even better when we connect with the Chico community, right? It'll be clear. We are the Center for Spiritual Living in Chico. What do you think? All right.